This video is titled 4 Questions to Ask a Potential Listing Agent. So you want to sell your house. Who do you hire to help you do that? There's lots of different brokerages and lots of different agents. You probably know one, or 2, or 12, or more. There are 40-some thousand licensed real estate agents in Southern California. So how do you decide? Do you pick the one that helped you last time? Do you pick somebody that you know that's really nice? Is your hairdresser's mother-in-law? Do they sell houses every once in a while? Do you pick the person or persons that mail into your neighborhood all the time, or perhaps leave an American flag on your sidewalk on July 4th? How do you pick an agent? Well, my contention is this. The person that you hire to be your marketing and advertising representative can mean the difference in huge amounts of money. On the average home in Orange County, roughly $800,000, there can be as much as $60,000 to $80,000 on the table, and that's not just in the purchase price itself. There's a lot more going on than just the price you get for the house. You need a pro. So how do you find this pro? So the analogy that I like to use is as if you were getting sued for, let's say, $800,000. That would be a big deal. You would figure out which of the various different lawyers that you'd want to interview. You'd sit down and you'd want them to tell you all about the way they work and how they work. Or another way to look at it is you were going to have a surgery that was going to cost you almost $800,000 out of pocket to do. You're going to want to meet with the surgeon and be very careful about the guy that's going to be cutting into you, or the gal that's going to be cutting into you. Frankly, you wouldn't even care if they're nice. You wouldn't care about their advertising. You would care about whether or not they would do a good job. And frankly, it's the same with the marketing and advertising of your home. Question number 1, how do you handle setting an asking price? So you ask them that question, but it's kind of a trick question. A typical agent is going to respond 2 different ways. Number 1 is they're going to pick a number that they know they can sell the house for, especially if they're working in your neighborhood, farming there. They want to have a very short amount of time on the market in order to get a house sold, because that's what they talk about. All my listings sell within 3 days, something like that. Or they're going to come in and they're going to suggest a price that they think you will like. I'll get you $800,000. Problem is, they're going to be wondering if the next guy coming in is going to go, no, I can get you $810,000 or $820,000. That's kind of why this is a trick question. My opinion is that the job of the realtor, of the marketing and advertising guy, is to help you understand the marketplace, what's been going on in the neighborhood, what's going on right now with active sales, what's likely to happen based upon the inventory that's active right now, to help you get an idea of what the marketplace is doing for homes similar to yours, so that you can get an indication of what the marketplace is generally looking for. But then you, as the seller, it's your house, it's your product. You tell the agent, this is what I want for the house, now you go out and get it for me. Number 2, do you negotiate offers in person? Negotiate in person? That's right. 99.9% of all agents do not like to negotiate in person. They want to get an email. In fact, you'll see it on the MLS most of the time. Please email offers to lazyrealtor@realestatecompany.com. But there's some wisdom in negotiating an offer in person. In fact, there are 4 good reasons to negotiate a transaction in person, and you want a listing agent that will do it. Number 1, it eliminates lowball or non-serious offers. If the buyer has to show up to present an offer, only serious buyers will do so. Number 2, human-to-human interaction. A PDF with an electronic signature isn't personal at all. Also, doing it in person makes sure that the transaction starts off on the right foot. Number 3, emotion. Get the buyers in the home that they want to negotiate the transaction in person, and it'll likely be much easier to get their final dollar out of their wallet to get them the home that they want. Number 4, it saves time. Putting a transaction together is about far more than just price. There are lots of moving parts, many of which include financial considerations, and having everyone there makes it easier to hammer it all out in one shot. Rather than hours and days of emailing and texting, people all in a room together can iron out the details in literally minutes. An offer negotiated in person takes less than an hour, and everybody, in my experience, almost always feels great about doing it that way. Number 3, what do you do to sell the house to other agents? Again, this is kind of a trick question. You're probably going to get an answer that says something like marketing or flyers or in-house office meetings or social media or, things of that nature. But everybody does that. Of course it's important, but that's not going to really do anything extra to attract agents to bring their clients to your house. What do you got to do to keep an agent to bring a client to your house, put a deal together, and then keep their client interested in buying your house? You give them money. That's the way that you do it. A good listing agent will present to you a strategy of how to set up an incentive program for buyer's agents to be very interested in your house and to use their buyer's money to do it. How do you handle dual representation? Okay, so this is definitely a trick question. The truth is, most agents and most brokerages are extremely interested in double-ending the transaction, where the listing agent also represents the buyer and puts it all together. And the reason they do that is not because that's in the best interest of the seller. The reason they do that is that they make more money that way, double the commission. Okay? So knowing that, when you ask the question, the typical agent is going to think that you are negotiating with them. Oh, well, if I end up representing both sides, I'll cut my fee and something like that. But that is a terrible answer. In fact, if they go down that road, you can just ask them to leave right away. There's only one answer for an agent to give you with this question, and that is, I don't double-end transactions, ever. Thinking about the analogy that we used earlier with the lawsuit, let's say you hired an attorney to defend you in that $800,000 lawsuit. How would you feel if when you got into court, at some point, he gets up from your table and walks over to the other side and starts presenting that case? It's impossible for somebody to have promised you that they're going to get you the best price and terms for the home and then turn around and go try to do the same thing with a buyer. It's absolutely impossible. There's no question. If an agent has ever double-ended a deal or they're interested in double-ending a deal or anything like that, they are not the right agent for you. Okay, so there are obviously more things to talk about: marketing, photography, videos, the differences between brokerages, international buyers, all sorts of things of that nature. But in order to eliminate the vast majority of agents that are even available to help sell a house for you, you ask those 4 questions and watch how they answer. And in almost every single case, you can disclude them right away because they're just not going to do the right kind of job for you to get you that extra money that is potentially sitting there on the table if everything is done correctly. Now, if you'd like to hear more about my particular strategies and the way I work with home sellers, you can contact me, 949-413-2371. You can also email me, michael@housamgroup.com. Also, right up in the corner here, the little I, you can click on that. That will take you to a site where we can set up a strategy session in person or online, and we can talk about those things further. Thank you so much, and have a great day.